it's Dale here. Today I'm going to talk about making skins, and you've done heaps and heaps of different sorts of image transfers, and often I don't keep notes very well, so it's always trial and error, which is more fun really, I suppose, if you lose your notebook. But what I've done for these ones is I've used a clear leveling gel. I don't know if anyone other than Golden makes a clear leveling gel. It's not cheap by any means. And what you do is you paint it on your image. So I've got a little image here. You'll never guess who this is, in her hand knitted dress. My mother was an extremely good knitter and made clothes right up till she died. But you get the gel and paint it on. I'm using a brush, but I could use a spatula. I seem to have lost the spatula. And you want to put a reasonable amount of coating. I have a lot of good results and not so good results, and you want it on the image, not on the bottom. There's a reason for that, and we'll just coat her up. Gorgeous, wasn't she? It's a little girl. It's lost somewhere along the line, but never mind. And always posing in out the front of our house, and certainly had plenty of hand knitted little beauties. So I'll put that on. That's the gel on the top, and you leave it to dry. Now I've also used gel medium instead of the leveling gel, but what I found with the leveling gel is it leaves a really nice clear image, whereas the gel tends to be more the gel medium tends to be more cloudy. And so then what I do when it's dry, lift it off, we'll put it down here to dry, is then I will wet it and turn it over and wet it. I've done a couple of others here, and then I've turned it over, wet it, and rub the back off. Now if you don't put enough on, this is not very not particularly well coated, so it's a bit of, you know, getting a feel for it, and sometimes they work well and sometimes they don't. This one, who happens to be Ian's great-great-grandmother. It's the only photo we've ever managed to find of her, it's a lovely photo. But sometimes they don't, they rip, which has happened, and it suits me. That's all right, because when it gets added to your work, it's interesting. Now I know I don't use other people's images that I might get off Google or Etsy or Pinterest or anything, and I certainly don't do AI. I'm not really interested in adding other people's pictures to my work because I don't know who they are, and it sort of seems silly. But so this one I know is torn a little bit, but I'll show you what it's like on the other side. When it's dry, you'll rub off the surface of that. But that's the image, and it's a skin. It's the leveling gel is the skin, and the image transfers onto it. Now, as I said, it's ripped a little bit, but it's okay. I can add that in when I'm stitching. And to show you what I do, this is my dad. I'll turn him over and just wet the back. And then somebody suggested once using a sponge to get it working, which does sort of work quite well, but actually I'm quite happy just to use my finger to rub that paper. You want that paper off the back. And now most of these I do laser prints, but having said that, I'm not always sure, because I don't always write down what I've done unless it's fairly fresh. So I don't know if this is an inkjet or a laser. And you'll read at different times that laser's the best, and other people say that inkjet's okay. Sometimes it's just hard to tell, and I think it's got to be always trial and error. There's so many different people saying different things, so I won't do it all to show you. And you may need to wet it and come back to it later, but of course try not to be too heavy-handed like I often am, and then you'll get holes in it. But the bottom line is, if it doesn't work, if it does tear and you're unhappy, print it again and off you go again. The only thing that happens is it costs you money in the leveling gel, because it's not cheap. But if you like the effect, so this is a different sort of image transfer. It's creating a gel. you know, you can use words and then you layer it over to another surface, and that's what's good about it, you know, exciting. So I'll just take it off, take my dad off very carefully and just show you how he's starting to come out as it thins down the way, but I have to do more on it. And then I'll just pop it back down there. And these are a couple that I've done of my great-grandparents and my grandparents. And so this is the gel. It's still got a little bit to come off, but you can see how it's there. And if you don't like it, that's another one I've done. And it's less shiny because I sanded it slightly. I lost some of the bodies. They came off, so that's okay. I would just paint or sand it down a little bit, or even put a bit of matte medium on, or some wax. Gammon wax is really good just to knock it back if you don't like that effect. So that's my little play for the moment, and I hope it gives you some ideas if you're interested in that sort of thing. See you again next time. Bye.